Hello everybody, thanks for joining me. My name's David and this is my channel. Today's video, there is only love expressing itself through many forms. Through my spiritual awakening, and part of awakening, a very big part of awakening, is not only becoming that one self and feeling yourself as that one, but understanding that there is only love. That there is no evil, there is no other side, there's no enemy. And this probably takes the longest to truly understand. So I want to talk about that today. That idea that there is only love expressing itself. Everything, look around wherever you are watching this video, you are witnessing love expressing itself through all its forms. There is nothing else. For a long time, we have believed God as a universal presence that we can tap into or not tap into. First, we thought it was outside of us, heaven somewhere else. And then we thought, I can tap into it a little bit right now. I have people come to me and say, how do I tune in? How do I tune into that higher perspective? How do I become one with consciousness? Well, the reality is there's only the one self that we all are. So each one of us is an individuated perspective of what we call God. It's moving through us. You can be considered in your life kind of like what a tree is. So you look at a tree and you can see the life moving through the tree, rooting itself into the ground, using the soil and all the things around it in order to keep that tree alive. That tree doesn't have the ability to just say, I'm going to do this. You see, there's no real separate part of that tree because it needs the soil, it needs the water, it needs the light. It needs love, you see. So we're the same way, each one of us. We are that life expressing itself through us in an individual way, so to speak. But not to the point where we create an individual separate self that we can hold on in front of all the other expressions of that same love. We also need the light, and we need the clouds and the wind, and we need food, and we need water, and we need support, and we need love from others. And you see, there's many things we need. We need to express ourselves and have a purpose and desires. And the more we recognize we need each other, we won't fight each other anymore. Because to hold any kind of thought of resentment towards any one of us is to constrain it within us. Do you see? Have you noticed that? That's what constriction is. That's what contraction is. That, so to speak, individual self that we believe we are, that is trying to stifle or try to slow down or try to suppress the love that wants to express through each one of us. So because of that, I've learned there is only love. That which is God. Jesus said God is love. Is true love. That one self expressing itself through all these creations. So many of them. But each consciousness that we have the ability to try to suppress that love and try to almost squeeze it or stop it from flowing through us. Does that make sense? And when we do that, we push against ourselves. So there is only light and that which is lack of it or trying to stop it from flowing through. There's only abundance or that which is trying to slow the abundance down. So we're using our abundance to create lack. We use our light to try to create darkness. We use our goodness to try to create evil. You see, so there's no opposite, that which has no opposite. And that's so important to understand, because once we understand that, we'll realize that what happens is that believing in sickness, which is the opposite of health, then stifles, or rather doesn't allow health or well-being to flow through that soul. I believe in sickness, therefore now I'm focused on something that's not true. In reality, there's nothing outside of you that can hurt you. There is no assertion from anything outside. There would have to be a separate self. And we know that's not true. There's only one. But by believing that there is a such thing as sickness, that there is an enemy that can come at me, that can move against me, I then turn against the well-being that wants to flow through. So there is no such thing as something that can take anything away from us, but there is a such thing as a soul that can try to stop the well-being from flowing in by focusing on a belief of something that's not true. Does this make sense? And this is how you let go of the opposites. There is no weakness, but there is that which can suppress strength and power by focusing and believing that there is a weakness, that there is a such thing as failure. As we believe in failure and we focus upon it, afraid of failing, we suppress our success on the other side. Does that make sense? That's why fear is here and love is here. And fear, you can be construed as like the bottom of the ocean. You're sitting in the bottom of the ocean. That's all you know. You're that fish. It's like, wow, this is all I've ever seen. But then if you keep on going up, 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 you can end up on the top of the hills, top of the mountains. Now there's a whole nother world up there, but aren't those worlds connected? They're not separate. They're one. And when you do them both, and you know what it's like to be in the bottom of the ocean, and now you know what it's like to be on the top of that mountain, you might have a comparison. And when you're on the top of the mountain, you might want to be at the bottom of the ocean again in that scuba suit, right? Being one with those fishes. And now you'll feel an anxiety. So as we create this idea of comparison, we tend to believe they're in two separate places. And then we create two sources. A source of sickness and a source of health, a source of abundance and a source of lack. But the more we understand there is only one, and there is only love expressing itself anywhere you look, even within a body that seems to be diseased. Love is trying to express itself through the body. But the soul might be focusing and believing that there is something else that's trying to stop that love, and therefore it will suppress that well-being that wants to flow in. So our beliefs, our belief in this other world, a belief in death, a belief in loss, a belief in lack, a belief in weakness and failure. I recommend write your own list. These beliefs are what's suppressing truth that consistently wants to flow in. The belief in failure is what's stopping your success. The belief in loss is what's stopping the flow of everything that wants to come into your life. That's why they say, go with the flow, go with the natural way. Don't let what's releasing from your life, what seems to be pushing against you, that enemy, which is actually just releasing the pressure, because the pressure is always releasing in the form of all kinds of interesting separation that we construe as real. Don't let that release make you believe in anything else. Because as you look out in this world, and you look close enough, you will see that the miracle of this world is that one self, that which we all are, I am, that one, is expressing itself through many, 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 many different forms. Each form having what we call an ego, or rather a body mind for each one of us, or a part of consciousness that is focused in, that has the ability to forget that it's also that bigger, broader perspective. So therefore you push against it. And as you look out in that world, each one of us, and you believe there is anything else but love not expressing itself through every single one of its forms, then you believe in something that's not true. And you suppress that love from within yourself. And that's why when you look at something you don't like, it doesn't feel good. Does this make sense? As you look out at someone else and you see them suppressing their own love by acting foolish or acting insane, and we judge them, we suppress our own love. We tie ourselves in knots so that way that life cannot flow through us. Because what you see out there in that one self you'll see in this one self. And this is the indicator to let us know that we are connected. This is why we have emotion, negative and positive. Can't you see the intertanglement of all of us through our feeling world? Looking out and seeing things we don't like, taking it as ourselves and stopping our own flow of energy, our own flow of life from coming through, because there is only love expressing itself through its creations. And as we let go of the idea of that person must be wrong and sinful and they deserve to be punished, and instead we help them understand, teach them. You are suppressing your own love by believing in something that's not true. Let me help you. Let me teach you who you are. Let me remind you of your strength and your power to move in the direction of that which you are and not that which you are not. Doesn't that feel like a more viable option versus pushing against them? So I've learned in my life, I am that one, and we all are. And as you remember that and recognize that, as you look out at that world and you move and flow with people and you say, I am that one. We are that one. Learn and grow for them and love them and appreciate them. And when you see them tying themselves in knots, you'll know they have a belief somewhere. They still believe this is true. Help them move to the other side by being a reflection of abundance, by being a reflection of well-being, by being a reflection of strength and power and joy and happiness. And reminding them they can make that decision too when they are ready. And as we remember, this side does not exist. And isn't it wonderful that it doesn't? So when you feel yourself sick, remember you are well-being. When you feel yourself down and lost or alone, remember you are that one mind, connected with all others. And you feel yourself lost, remember that you are always found. Breathe that in as the truth of your being, because it is. And you will feel better, I assure you. And the reason you will feel better is because it's true. Positive emotion always is an indicator of what is true, and negative emotion is always an indicator of what is false. And as we learn to move within that barometer, we will move in the right direction. And each one of us, when we are ready, will let go of this false world. And we'll each move back into the oneness and to the one self, to the I am, individuated consciousness, individuated, one love that we all are. Thank you guys very much. As always, it is my pleasure to share this with all of you. Hit the like button if it's speaking to you. Otherwise, subscribe, share. And as always, my unconditional love to you all.